हेलो एवरीवन, कैसे आप लोग। आज का पॉडकास्ट सीरीज का टॉपिक है हम लोग का इनडायरेक्ट टैक्सेशन। मेरे साथ आज सीए मनीष है। हेलो।
हाय।
सीए मनीष इज अ चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट एंड ये बिग 4 में मैनेजर है इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स प्रोफाइल में। 2016 में पहली बार जीएसटी आया था, तब अपने माइंड में हमेशा क्वेश्चन चलता था कि ये जीएसटी है क्या। 10 साल लग गए अपने को पूरा उसको यूज टू करने से। एंड जनरली हम लोग देखें जीएसटी में लोग प्रैक्टिस करते हैं, सीए फर्म्स के लिए काफ़ी स्कोप बढ़ गया। बट आज जो हम लोग बात कर रहे हैं कि आईडीटी में आपका करियर कैसे बन सकता है, कि आप आईडीटी में जॉब कर रहे हैं तो आपका कैसा करियर होगा, उसका प्रोज कॉन्स क्या है। आज का टॉपिक पूरा आईडीटी प्रोफाइल में रिवॉल्व करेगा। एंड आई थिंक कि ये बहुत ही बेनिफिशियल है क्योंकि मेरे साथ एक बिग 4 के मैनेजर बैठे। फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल मनीष, थैंक यू सो मच फॉर कमिंग टू माई पॉडकास्ट।
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm excited to share मेरे knowledge और thoughts है. And to start with, I started in IDT from my articleship days. So मैंने Big 4 से ही articleship की थी. My articleship started in 2017 जब GST आने वाला था. And cut to 2026, I am a manager with the Big 4 in Kolkata. And I know what challenges people face because I've seen many articles who have worked with me. I myself was an article working in a Big 4 in IDT profile, so I'll try my best to share the knowledge जिससे आप लोग you can take some you can make an informed decision, so to say कि आपको क्या करना चाहिए नहीं करना चाहिए. So really excited and thank you Madhav for organizing this because बहुत इम्पॉर्टेंट है कि ऐसे वीडियोस रहे अवेलेबल क्योंकि बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस होते हैं. जब मैं आर्टिकल था व्हेन आई वाज स्टार्टिंग आउट, आई आल्सो हैड क्वेश्चंस बट आई डिड नॉट हैव समवन प्रिपेयरिंग सच पॉडकास्ट फॉर मी व्हिच यू आर डूइंग. So I think thank you for taking this initiative and I'm sure this will benefit a lot of people who have certain doubts or there are certain myths. So I'm going to bunk certain myths which are there with IDT also as we go along. So yes.
Thank you so much Manish. All credits to you because it's only the platform that I am giving, but actual content is I am getting from you guys. So even I am learning from this. And to add cherry on the cake, you have done articleship from IDT also, so that would be a very fruitful discussion. So Manish, tell me something about your CA journey, like when you started your CPT days, then becoming CA. How was your experience like about?
So CA for most of the people it's like a dream. It's not easy. When I started or thought of CA back in 2015, the pass percentage was very low, and I had seen many people who were struggling to clear even after multiple attempts. So it was a dream that I want to become a CA. I gave my CPT in 2015 just after 12th. Then I had my inter in 2016. Then I started articleship. Articleship was very hectic. For every article out there, hats off to you. Uh, and especially those who are doing it with the attending college. So I was in St. Xavier's. सुबह कॉलेज जाना, फिर उसके बाद ट्यूशन्स करना, ट्यूशन्स के बाद रात को घर पहुंचना, एंड इवन आर्टिकलशिप आफ्टर यू हैव क्लियर्ड इंटर, उसके बाद तो और डिफिकल्ट हो जाता है बिकॉज डेडलाइंस रहते हैं, देयर आर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज. एंड इफ़ यू वर्क विद अ गुड ऑर्गेनाइजेशन मिड साइज और बिग फोर, they take you they treat you as a qualified. They give you responsibilities which they would give to a qualified. So I had clients which I have to myself deliver. So सुबह कॉलेज करके फिर आदमी टायर्ड हो जाता है एंड फाइनल की भी प्रिपरेशंस रहती हैं, कोचिंग्स रहती है. So it was a very tough journey, but the reward at the end is worth it. When you get those two letters of CA as a prefix to your name, I think that that happiness, and because of that journey and that hard work which you have put in, that becomes all the more special. Because अगर कोई चीज़ आप इतने मेहनत से you are able to achieve it, it becomes the best feeling of your life. That is what to say. Yeah.
So specifically, how was your result day feeling? Like when the results were popped out and you were CA Manish at that time?
So surprisingly, and this is not what most people do, on my result day, I was in office. I have certain work, urgent work, which I had to deliver. So मैंने अपने result office में अपने seniors के सामने देखी थी. And that moment I was just blank for a moment because वो क्या होता है, result जब आता है and पहले तो पास पास लिखा आता था, तो वो खाली नज़र पास पास में जाता है, फिर और कुछ मैटर नहीं करता. उसके बाद आदमी देख लेता है कि कहाँ कितना आया है, बिकॉज अल्टीमेटली व्हाट मैटर्स इज यू क्लियरिंग द एग्जाम. एंड so it was surreal मेरे जो senior थे, I touched his feet, and then I called my mom. So it's a feeling which only one can experience. I don't think anyone can describe it adequately, because words are not enough to describe that feeling. So
Lovely, Manish. So coming towards your like articleship. So how was your articleship working in Big 4?
So articleship in IDT
Hmm.
in Big 4. So when I did my articleship, GST was just coming in. So I began my articleship in early 2017,
Okay.
and July 17 से GST आया था.
Hmm.
So it was very chaotic because people did not know. Even the government did not know. There were changes every other day. There were circulars, notifications coming out every other day. There were impact assessments which were being carried out. There were lots of myths in the industry कि GST आ जाएगा तो ये हो जाएगा, this problem would be there, and there were real issues because this change was one of the biggest reforms in taxation since independence, so as to say.
Hmm.
So बहुत सारे practical issues थे and बहुत ज़्यादा chaos था उस समय, and I was fortunate to be there at that time because all of those things taught me a lot of things, not only from IDT perspective but also how to handle pressure, how to handle client expectations, because इतने सारे clients थे. As an article also you were directly dealing with some of them. So you may have a senior but he's also occupied with something, right? So you had to take onus जितने extent तक होता था खुद deliver करना. And imagine someone right out of college with no experience in any corporate, he's walking into a field where he has to deliver on his own. That was challenging, but it was what shapes you as a person. So challenges are what makes you who you are. So my articleship experience was great for that aspect, especially because it was in a time frame when I could take onus, or people used to give me that responsibility. It was not that they felt I was capable or not. That was not the question. Because there was so much pressure, they had to eventually trust me with some things, and that made it very enriching. It made it really value adding for me, and that also is something which made me fell in love with the subject. And I was sure after articleship that I really want to continue in IDT because of that.
Lovely. So you took the challenge, like IDT was new, like GST was new, and you like started your career in that. So that's a great thing, and you are getting the rewards for it also. Now my question is like many of the people have doubt like, should we do our articleship from Big 4 or mid size? Like, if you draw a comparison between the two, which one you will prefer like 5 years down the line now?
See, it depends on what you are aspiring in your life. And what I see more and more with the people nowadays, they are not sure on really what they want to do.
Yeah.
They are like, I want to figure out myself. And अगर figuring out stage है, so you may might as well go for a mid size or a Big 4 stat audit. But going for a Big 4 indirect tax or a transfer pricing or a corporate tax or some niche profile may not be your thing, because then if you have done a specialization from Big 4 in one of the particular streams, job opportunities रहते हैं बाहर, but majorly you would be restricted to that field because people would prefer you for the skills you have developed, right? So I would suggest कि you couldn't go for a mid size, because वहाँ पे क्या है, you are doing audit also, you're doing tax also, so you will have the best of both worlds. But then Big 4 obviously has a tag to it. It has a connotation. It has a legacy. And if you are in stat audit, then many profiles are open to you still, because you can go into IB, you can go into FDD,
Yeah.
you can go into a lot more things. But if you are in tax profile per se in Big 4, it limits you to certain extent. Although I've seen people who have moved on from a IDT profile in articleship to a FNA role, or even to a audit role, but then that does take some doing.
Okay. So basically, if I want to conclude over here, if I am sure that I am going to pursue my career in tax in future, then definitely I should work in articleship in IDT or DT profile. But like if I am like dynamic or I want to explore, I am currently in exploring stage, then I should like work in mid-size firm or in audit. So that's a very important thing to understand because एक बार आप जैसे IDT प्रोफाइल में घुस गए then it would be tough to look for you to crack like finance jobs. तो व्हेन यू हैव क्लियर्ड योर IPCC यू टेक योर टाइम एंड डिसाइड कि सिर्फ ट्यूशन करके आप IDT या DT का ट्यूशन करके कॉल मत लो कि यार मुझे इसी में काम करना। इफ़ यू आर ओपन फॉर द रोल्स, अपने सीनियर्स से पूछो, मेरा पॉडकास्ट देखो, बहुत सारा प्रोफाइल्स के बारे में आपको पता चलेगा उससे, देन यू डिसाइड कि वेयर टू परस्यू। नाउ वन मोर क्वेश्चन मनीष ओवर हियर कि जैसे अभी CA इंस्टीट्यूट ने कर दिया कि 2 साल का आर्टिकलशिप वर्सेस अपने टाइम पे जो 3 साल का आर्टिकलशिप था, सो what are your like viewpoint about that? Which one is more suitable for students?
I feel 3 years. I like 3 years better, not because I'm a manager now and I want my resources to be there for a longer time. But then third year में क्या होता है, you are effectively as good as a qualified. And third year में जो experience होता है, when you are independently handling clients or independently handling government officials, that adds a different aspect to you, which 2 साल में नहीं हो पाता, मेरे को ऐसा लगता है। एंड 2 साल में भी प्रॉब्लम क्या होता है, बहुत सारे बच्चे आजकल दे गो फॉर अ इंडस्ट्रियल ट्रेनिंग आफ्टर 1 year. So if you are just working 1 year in a particular profile, you would not get that deep, बिकॉज वो तो ट्रेनिंग में ही लग जाता है। 6-7
हाँ
महीने तो ट्रेनिंग में ही लग जाते हैं लोगों को सिखाने में। फिर आफ्टर 4 months इफ दे लीव, आई डोंट थिंक दे डू जस्टिस टू देयर capabilities in terms of really grasping the subject. And earlier, because 3 years था, तो that industrial training began after 2 years. So I believe कि वो फिर भी better था, but I would prefer 3 years for a reason that third year is the mean. At least when I was an article, when I looked at third year articles, they were as good as qualified for me. And that is when you actually take up that onus and responsibility. मेरे केस में वो अलग था because GST was coming in and they gave me responsibilities before third year. But generally इन नॉर्मल सिनेरियो फर्स्ट 2 years, मतलब थर्ड ईयर ही होता है जब
हाँ
आर्टिकल को एक्चुअल में डिलीवर करने का एंड टू एंड रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज मिलता है। एंड वो एक्सपीरियंस लेना चाहिए मेरे हिसाब से, जो अभी बिकॉज ऑफ 2 years नहीं हो पा रहा है।
और एक लेवरेज है कि जैसे ऑडिट में मैंने देखा है कि अगर इफ यू हैव कंटिन्यूइंग योर लाइक प्रोफाइल इन ऑडिट ओनली इन बिग फोर एंड यू डन योर आर्टिकलशिप इन बिग फोर, देन आपको सीधा सीनियर लेवल में लिया जाता है,
Correct.
AM लेवल में, सो वो एक एज मिल जाता है।
वो डेफिनेटली है, बिकॉज आई वाज आर्टिकल, मेरे को सीधा सीनियर, अभी तो उन्होंने एग्जीक्यूटिव वाला लेवल हटा ही दिया है मोस्ट ऑफ द बिग फोर्स।
ओके
सो इट्स द सेम लेवल, बट देन योर प्रमोशन टू असिस्टेंट मैनेजर और डेप्यूटी मैनेजर इज फास्ट ट्रैक।
लवली।
सो दैट इज देयर, करेक्ट।
We will discuss about the like designations and all,
हाँ,
yeah, in
okay.
detail. Now coming towards like if someone is aiming my future in IDT, अगर मेरे को IDT में ही future देखना है, तो is it necessary मेरे को आर्टिकलशिप भी IDT से होना चाहिए क्या?
It's preferred.
Okay.
So it's not necessary. See, as I told you, if you have the love for the subject and if your concepts are clear, even you doing articleship for a small size firm just in audit can land up a job in IDT. It's not difficult. But then obviously if someone has done his articleship from a IDT specific domain and he's interviewing before me, I would have a certain degree of confidence on him compared to someone who has just done stat audit and is coming. Because ultimately managers का भी यही होता है कि they want people who make their life easier,
Okay.
or who are easier to train and mold into their clients. So there would be a preference, but I would not say कि it's necessary.
Generally managers need problem solvers in life,
Correct.
and having articleship from IDT gives them definitely an edge.
Agreed.
Yeah. Now, if I ask about post CA journey, because I am a CA fresher, I have done my articleship, I have completed that. Now I'm looking for job. So can you tell me your post CA journey? Like, how have you applying jobs? Like, how was your job hunt like strategy and all? So if you draw some light on it.
So post CA, I had one clarity that I want to stay in Kolkata. I like the city. So then in Kolkata, the opportunities are there. But because I liked IDT also, I wanted to do something in IDT. So for me, it was very easy because I could continue with the Big 4 I was working with, because I liked the subject. I knew the clients, I knew what was there. And obviously, if you are a homegrown article, you get certain benefits when you qualify. So the same organization rewards you for your loyalty. So मेरे लिए job hunt was not something which was very aggressive. I hardly gave any interviews, to be honest. I sat in the campus for the experience, and वो होना चाहिए सबको, I believe, campus का experience. And there were 2-3 companies who interviewed, but then I decided, and they were not in Kolkata.
Okay.
So then I decided कि I should continue, because unnecessarily, just for a change, my people should not do things just because they want to change, if there's not a reason for the change. So I did not have any reason at that point of time, so मेरे लिए बहुत smooth था, जो generally नहीं होता. I was thankful and I'm grateful for it. So I continued, and that was
Lovely. From articleship to manager, you were in the same Big Four. Like,
correct.
that's great. Now, Manish, one thing I want to ask, like as an interviewer, what do you expect from CF fresher?
See, the thing which a manager would see in any fresher of any interview is his ability to think. So, if I'm asking you a question, you may not give me the correct answer, but are you correlating that question to the correct provisions? Are you thinking the correct way? So, एक journey होता है thought का. So, when I ask you a question, you should think about the relevant definitions and tell me that, sir, this definition में ये है, so I feel so. You may be wrong, that is okay, but that journey or that thought process of how you are trying to come to answer, that is what we look at. Because लोगों को सब कुछ पता नहीं हो सकता. We have experience being a manager. I've worked for 9-10 years in a Big Four. The experience which I have, obviously a fresher cannot have the same level of experience or expertise, but in that thought process or that clarity of mind, or that ability to apply yourself to the question, that is what people look at, and that is what personally I look at when I'm taking interviews.
Lovely. What a great answer. Like ability to think, because problem solving ability is the one you need from a fresher. Lovely one.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And any specific like question or tips that you want to give like to like CA freshers like aiming to work in IDT?
Tips would be that you have to love the subject.
Okay.
That is what I tell myself, and I've seen people who have come to IDT but they don't love the subject. So if that is the case, you should refrain from it. And in the interview also, when you are speaking to the interviewer, you should not say that I'm okay with IDT. You should actually make a point to tell them that I like IDT, and you should have pointers where you specifically tell that person why you want to do the job. Because I don't want someone in my team who is doing it just for the money. I want someone who's passionate about it, someone who understands it, and someone who has the zeal to learn more about it. And that is what I feel is missing with some of the people, not everyone. So whatever interview you give, you should be very confident about it that you want to do this profile, uh, and that will show in your interview. Your mindset always reflects before the interviewer.
Okay. So a follow question of this, like why IDT? Like why did you choose IDT as your career path? Because it's a literally hats off. Like just अभी 2017 में आया IDT and you have decided that no I want to pursue GST, मतलब मेरे को अपना आर्टिकलशिप भी GST से करना है, and from articleship to manager journey, like why IDT?
So I was very sure I want to do tax, because
Okay.
tax is something which जब articleship के पहले inter के tuitions में I was studying tax, I really liked the subject. Tax में जो changes होते हैं, every year budget में changes आते हैं, interpretation is something I really liked, and I was very sure I want to go into tax. Now once I wanted to go into tax, there were only three options basically: corporate tax, IDT, and international tax. उस समय क्योंकि GST was about to come, people were hiring a lot in indirect tax, and that is how I landed up in indirect tax. Nothing specific to GST, because मेरे को भी उतना तो पता नहीं था, but एक clarity थी कि मेरे को taxation में कुछ करना है, and because that opportunity knocked at my door, I ended up doing IDT. Yeah.
Lovely. So Manish, like from article then associate then manager. So आप अपना जर्नी को elaborate कर सकते हैं कि जो आपका पाथ टू सक्सेस था, क्या ऐसे ड्राइव किया आपको कि आप इतना जल्दी मैनेजर बन गए, एंड विच इज़ वेरी कमेंडेबल. एंड मनीष, मेरे को जानना है कि अगर मैं एक फ्रेशर हूँ और मेरे को 1 या 2 साल हुआ है और मेरे को अपना रैपो बनाना बिग फोर में, मेरे को लग रहा है कि यार मेरे को अपना एक एक पाथ देखना लाइफ में कि मुझे भी आपका रोड स्टेप फॉलो करना है. सो व्हाट इज़ द की टू सक्सेस फॉर दैट? क्या चीज़ माइंड में रखना चाहिए जब इनिशियली 1-2 साल आपको हुआ है जॉब करते हुए?
Key to success for me is very simple, that you should be very open to learn, and you should be very curious about things. So the more curious you are, the more you go into professional forums, speak with people, the more case laws you read, the more people you interact with. Because I have seen people who are very bogged down with the clerical part of IDT, with data, with returns. बट आपको सक्सेसफुल होना है तो आपको डेटा रिटर्न्स के बियॉन्ड सोचना पड़ेगा. डेटा इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, return is very important. Any assessment is based on the returns, so you should know the returns thoroughly. That is without doubt. And whatever expertise I have is because I have filed returns myself and I know them. But then you cannot just be restricted to that. You have to think beyond those returns. You have to think कि आपका client अगर कुछ कर रहा है या रिटर्न में किसी कोई चीज़ को किसी तरीके से दिखा रहा है, so is there a optimum way to do that, or is there anything wrong with it? Because I have seen people who uh, they just treat returns as some data Excel में working करेंगे, then upload कर देंगे, and that is how they go about things. But then if you want to really succeed, you have to go beyond the returns. You have to understand the law which goes into the returns, or why you are disclosing something in the returns, why you are not. You need to abundantly question the client. You have to question your senior. वो क्वेश्चन हो सकता है लोगों को फ्रस्ट्रेटिंग लगते हैं बहुत बार कि बार बार ये क्यों पूछ रहा है, ये पूछ रहा है. बट देन फॉर योर पर्सनल ग्रोथ, फॉर हैविंग दैट क्लैरिटी, बिकॉज आई बिलीव नो क्वेश्चन इज स्टूपिड. देयर इज नो स्टूपिड क्वेश्चन. एवरी क्वेश्चन हैज अ जेनेसिस, एंड क्योंकि वो जेनेसिस है, इट इज अ वैलिड क्वेश्चन. एंड आपके माइंड में अगर डाउट है कोई स्टूपिड नेचर का भी, you are becoming wiser by asking that question. So you should always be curious. You should know why certain things are being shown the way they are, why you are taxing something, why you're not taxing something, why you're reporting something and not reporting something. And that is how I think you can grow, because really need to love the subject, which whatever subject you are doing with, and you have to build that constant need for upscaling, for knowledge management, for reading into things, for discussing things. Discuss it with your peers, with your friends, with other people. एंड उससे क्या होगा, आपका जो क्लैरिटी इन थॉट है वो रिफाइन होते रहेगा. एंड आपका क्लैरिटी जितना रिफाइन होगा ना थॉट में, दैट विल शो इन योर डेलिब्रेशंस व्हेन यू आर स्पीकिंग विद पीपल, एंड दैट विल मेक यू सक्सेसफुल. So it's, if you just treat IDT as कि ठीक है, I have a job where I have to file certain amount of returns जो मैं करूँगा, and that's my job, and then other than that you don't invest time reading things beyond it or applying your mind to the data which you have. IDT professionals have huge amount of data. पूरा सेल्स परचेजेस का डेटा रहता है हमारे पास. We can look at that data, we can suggest clients some things. There are numerous of incentives which government gives. PLI है, state incentives है, customs में बहुत सारे mover regulations है, EPCG है, advance authorization है. बहुत सारी चीज़ें हैं जो लोग को पता भी नहीं है, क्लाइंट्स को पता भी नहीं है. बट मेरे को लगता है लोग ना वो डेटा एस्पेक्ट से इतना ओवरवेल्म हो जाते हैं कि दे आर नॉट एबल टू लुक बियॉन्ड इट. अब इट मे साउंड ईजी बट इट्स नॉट ईजी. आई अंडरस्टैंड कि बहुत ओवरवेलमिंग होता है रिटर्न सीजन में, बट देन यू शुड हैव दैट इन माइंड. एंड आप अगर 10 क्वेश्चन भी आप बोलते हो कि नहीं, आई लास्ट 10 क्वेश्चंस टू माई सेल्फ बेस्ड ऑन दिस डेटा, और आई लुक फॉर एटलीस्ट 5 अपॉर्चुनिटीज वेयर माई क्लाइंट कैन सेव tax. So you should do that, and that is how you will learn and grow, and that is complemented by your reading of the case laws, jurisprudence, circulars, whatever is coming up, because you don't know, a change may impact your client in some form. So you should always think कि इसका क्या impact हो सकता है मेरे existing set of clients में, या क्या opportunity हो सकता है. And if you do that, you would be successful, because then you would be the best amongst your peers, and that is how you grow.
बेसिकली इफ आई वांट टू से कि यू हैव टू हैव दैट लव एंड इंटरेस्ट फॉर द सब्जेक्ट. क्योंकि जैसे मुझे फाइनेंस में नंबर्स से बहुत प्यार है, तो मुझे पता है कि ट्रेंड्स अपने आप में देखने लग जाता है. तो सिमिलरली इफ समवन इज हैविंग अ लव विद आईडीटी एंड उसको इंटरेस्ट है, तब वो इतना डीप डाइव घुसेगा. नहीं तो आप सही बोले कि वो करने के लिए सिर्फ करेगा. यू हैव टू हैव दैट लव, बिकॉज इफ योर पैशन बिकम्स प्रोफेशन, उससे अच्छा कुछ हो ही नहीं सकता लाइफ में.
Agree.
Yeah. And like coming towards Big 4, so what are the pros and cons like working in Big 4, and उसका environment culture के बारे में आप थोड़ा elaborate कर सकते हैं?
So you also are from Big 4
Yeah.
firm. So Big 4s are very glamorous,
Yeah.
no doubt. They are very professional. There are processes which are there. There are controls. There are checks and balances to ensure that you're doing things the right way. प्रॉपर रिव्यू होता है, देयर इज अ सीनियर allocated to you who reviews what you are doing, there's a time sheet which you fill where you document how many hours you're working on certain things, and that teaches you discipline, I personally feel. But at the same time, Big 4 gives you some level of flexibility also. So it's not that you have to do a biometric every day. या आप 2 मिनट लेट हो गए तो your attendance will go for a toss.
वो बाबू कंपनी वाला हिसाब नहीं।
हाँ, बाबू कंपनी वाला हिसाब नहीं है. So there are perks, and discipline I think is the most important perk. It gives you a professional aspect to life where you know that this is expected of you and you need to deliver. They don't sit on your neck and tell you कि नहीं अभी करो ये करो मेरे सामने बैठ. But then there is a deadline which is there for everyone, and that is natural, and they trust you to deliver within that. And it depends from teams to teams, but what I've seen generally is what I'm speaking about. So वो अच्छा एस्पेक्ट है, आपको खुद सेल्फ रेगुलेशन सिखाता है बिग 4 कि आपको ये चीज़ करना है, आपको अपने पेस में करना है, बट इस दिन तक करना है. So you learn time management on how much time. So some people they have something to deliver on Monday, Friday उनका कुछ personal commitment है, they might want to sit on a Saturday or a Sunday to deliver it, but then they have to deliver it in Monday. So they have that flexibility in terms of managing their time. So that is what Big 4 is all about. It's about discipline. It's about flexibility to some extent. जहाँ पे possible है, अभी कुछ client scenarios हो सकते हैं जहाँ possible ही नहीं है. So that is different.
And to add on, like what I feel, there is a very big indirect benefit that we don't understand is like personality. Big 4 में आप काम करके you have that discipline, as you said कि time का commitment है, and you have that flexibility, you have that professionalism. So automatically subconsciously आपका एक personality develop हो जाता है.
Agree.
Yeah.
And a very good point,
Yeah.
Madhav, because I've seen people ultimately आपका वर्क लाइफ आपके पर्सनल लाइफ को इम्पैक्ट करता ही है.
हाँ.
एंड आप वर्क लाइफ में अगर डिसिप्लिन्ड हो, आप अपने पर्सनल लाइफ में भी ऑटोमेटिकली विल बिकम डिसिप्लिन्ड. फॉर एग्जांपल, आई हैव सीन पीपल हु हैड अ हैबिट ऑफ मार्किंग देयर कैलेंडर्स फॉर वर्क. नाउ दे हैव स्टार्टेड मार्किंग देयर कैलेंडर्स फॉर पर्सनल कमिटमेंट्स एज वेल. So things rub on. If you are professional in your or polite and courteous in your work life, you would also be professional, polite and courteous. Although personal life में professional does not make sense, but what I mean to say is that automatically वो personality, as you said, will rub on to your personal life, which I agree.
Now, coming towards main IDT thing, like can you explain like on an end-to-end basis like what you guys actually do in IDT, how a typical day looks like in IDT profile?
So I said कि I'll bunk certain myths.
Yeah.
So one of the biggest myth which is there with IDT profile is that it is about returns, GST R1, 3B, 2A, reconciliation. So see, to be honest, returns is a part of IDT, and that can never go away, because ultimately it's a taxation law. There has to be certain compliances or enforcements which the government will put on you, and you have to comply with it. But it is much more than just returns. My problem is that some people they have this impression about IDT कि नहीं ये तो return filing ही होगा, so इसमें how do I make a career, how do I grow? So there are n number of things apart from returns which an IDT professional does daily, day to day. Due diligences, for example, Big 4 में होता है कि whatever due diligence comes to the FDD team, they seek help of the IDT counterparts to analyze the IDT implications, to give exposure on what level of risk is there on those transactions, or whether the returns are correctly filed or not. Then customs में there are n number of opportunities. There are एक authorized economic operator का license होता है, which is a tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 license, जहाँ पे people apply to get some status, उससे कुछ benefits होते हैं ड्यूटी डेफरल के. फिर एक bonded warehousing scheme है जहाँ पे लोगों को they get to import things subject to them exporting it. Then there are EPCG benefits, advanced authorized. There are n number of aspects to IDT which people don't know probably. For them, ऊपर से सब लगता है कि it is about GST only and it's about GST returns. GST and GST returns तो obviously रहेंगे ही जब तक IDT है, but then उसको छोड़ के कई चीज़ें हैं. अभी Big 4 में जो IDT teams हैं, they are also assisting in government incentives and grants. So you know PLI scheme, production linked incentives. Then there are state specific incentives which state governments give. So तो ये सब में भी IDT teams are helping their clients in analyzing whether these incentives are eligible to them, then applying for those incentives, uh, applying for the disbursement of those incentives. So these are a lot of things which an IDT professional daily does, and in every transaction which an individual has, IDT plays a major role. बिकॉज अगर कोई गुड्स भी मेरे को एक्स जगह से वाई जगह भेजना है, उसके लिए इन्वॉइस GST इन्वॉइस होना चाहिए, ई वेबल होना चाहिए. अगर दोनों में कुछ भी गलत है तो देयर इज अ 200% पेनल्टी विच कैन बी लेवीड ऑन यू. So routinely as a IDT professional, if you are sitting in office, you would do returns, no doubt about it. Apart from returns, you'll have client queries. समझो आपके स्टोर में कोई क्लाइंट के स्टोर में कोई क्लाइंट आया है and he's not agreeing with a certain tax position which you have taken or a classification which you have taken, और आपके clients का goods कहीं stuck हो गया है, कोई officer ने for some lack of documentation they have detained the vehicle. So these are routine things which come to you, and there, apart from the law, you have to have that tact of dealing with the officers, that tact uh, and knowledge तो है ही. मतलब you have to be very good with your subject because people know because of this social media and जो information technology का age अभी चल रहा है, AI करके लोगों को बहुत सारा knowledge मिल जाता है. So you should be better than them. It should not be that you are also speaking basis what you get on the internet, but you have to analyze certain provisions, put your perspectives, because वो basic level का जो research पहले tax professionals करते थे, आज के दिन वो basic level का research तो AI करके दे देता है. आप chat GPT यूज कर लो, कोई भी LLM यूज कर लो आप. So you have to go beyond it, and that is where you have to look at case laws, where you can apply principles from those case laws to your facts, or principles from a case law to interpreting a particular provision. And that is the fun of IDT, which I really enjoy, because वहाँ पे you are giving a new perspective to your clients. You are thinking of things in a better way. And Supreme Court के बहुत सारे जजमेंट्स मैंने पढ़े हैं. Most of the judges, they take the logic of the provision, right? And purposive interpretation is something which is more and more the courts are doing nowadays. So to understand the purpose and intent of the provision, to apply ratios of existing case laws to them, and then coming out with a view. That view may be correct, may not be correct, but then you should be able to substantiate your reasoning for it. And even Supreme Court के बहुत सारे judgments होते हैं कि division bench ने दिया, then a larger bench overturns it. So even the Supreme Court judges may not have the, I would not say correct or wrong. There's nothing about correct or wrong. It's about the perspective, and it's about choosing which perspective suits you better. And that is the fun. So as a IDT professional, to sum up, it would be about returns for sure. It would be about incentives. It would be about analyzing provisions, optimizing structures. So whenever there's a new structure or new transaction which comes to a client, they would ask an IDT professional to review it, whether it's compliant with GST, customs. Is there any opportunity to optimize the tax structure? क्योंकि वो बहुत बार होता है कि some credits are not creditable to a certain person. So do they want to optimize the structure? Or even in commercial negotiations, these things help. अगर मैं किसी से कुछ खरीद रहा हूँ and I already have accumulation, I know that I would not be able to utilize that credit, then I may want to negotiate it better.
Yeah. So if I sum up, so we have one compliance, one advisory, and one litigations. So if I tell you the percentage, like how much percent of the work is compliance and advisory, then litigation, like, and second question is like, do you guys also like represent your client in appeals and like in court cases?
So percentage wise it depends on team to team, but I believe कि 50% तो compliances रहेंगे ही.
Okay.
And advisory again 25%, and litigation would be 25%. To answer your second question, ki do you represent up till the level of CSTAT or tribunal जो है,
Yeah.
a chartered accountant can represent, and people do represent.
Okay. So we get that opportunity in Big 4 also.
Yes, we do.
Okay. And one question, Manish, like it's a very like enthusiastic question from my side. बहुत बार मेरे को ऐसे आता है मन में कि like what's the market share like big four versus like individual practitioners versus like lawyers. So GST मेरे को ऐसा लगता है बहुत skewed है. जैसे अगर आप कोई प्रोफाइल ले लेंगे, जैसे हो गया आपका FDD हो गया या M&A टैक्स हो गया, उसमें मोनोपोली है बिग फोर का. तो इन IDT like how is the like things going on?
So a very good question, and I think that is one of the positives of getting into IDT.
Yeah.
Because you can do your own practice somewhere down the line. Because FDD, if you're into FDD, doing
Yeah.
your own practice may be very difficult because someone would not trust you
Yeah.
to do a due diligence by yourself. So ये है, and share as you rightly said, जो मेरे हिसाब से मे बी मिड साइज एंड स्मॉल साइज फर्म्स का शेयर ज़्यादा होगा.
Okay.
At least in terms of the market share, in terms of the client, revenue wise हो सकता है कि Big 4 does better. But then there are a lot of small players, and IDT is one thing which affects a small 50 लाख का भी किसी का ट्रेडिंग का बिजनेस है,
हाँ.
तो वो भी GST के नेट में आता है, और उसको भी कंप्लाई करना होता है. अभी वो व्यक्ति भी खुद से एक्सपर्टीज नहीं होगा उसके पास, एंड ही वुड रीच आउट टू अ चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट, which would be a small size firm or a mid size firm. So by that logic, I believe कि number of people affected by GST, it's almost every other business, because आजकल 20-40 लाख का turnover is very common, and so every other business in the country comes or is affected by GST. And because the number is so huge, if I talk about the number of registered person जो एक mid size या small size firm handle कर रहा होगा, that would be much more than what a big four would be doing. But on a revenue वाला account, obviously MNCs pay you better.
Yeah.
तो maybe revenue में big fours may be doing better, but हाँ, in terms of how many clients they have, volume में mid size and small size would do better. Litigation, you're talking about law firms also.
Yeah.
So law firms majorly focus on advisory and litigation. They don't do compliances. Okay. So उसमें भी obviously if someone reaches out to a law firm, mostly they would be a MNC or they would be a good mid-sized company.
Yeah.
So small size वाले तो नहीं जाएंगे, तो उनका भी market share in terms of volume would not be that much. But हाँ, whatever big corporates are there in a city, they would obviously prefer their litigations to be handled by a reputed lawyer, because lawyers have that specialization of pleading.
Manish, one question, like can you enlighten some common mistakes that businessmen do in like GST or indirect tax in or
So common mistake which I feel and I've seen practically is that people rely on their accountants, and these accountants may not be technically sound in GST.
Okay.
So what they do is वो अकाउंटेंट जो एंट्री कर रहा है वही डिसाइड करता है कि एक पर्टिकुलर इनवॉइस का क्रेडिट लेना है कि नहीं लेना है, या सर्टेन आईटीसी मेरे को रिवर्स करने हैं कि नहीं करना है. अभी दैट अकाउंटेंट मे नॉट बी द राइट पर्सन टू डू दैट, बिकॉज ही मे नॉट हैव दैट एक्सपर्टीज. And then 2 years 3 years down the line, when there is a departmental audit, they highlight कि ये आपने क्रेडिट लिया या ये रिवर्सल नहीं किया है. Then because 18% interest per annum, that adds up to a huge amount. अब 3 साल बाद आपका ऑडिट हो रहा है, आप 18 into 3 54% तो इंटरेस्ट ही दे रहे हो, प्लस वो पेनल्टी लेवी करेगा, फिर लिटिगेशन कॉस्ट. So it's better, and I would suggest, to the extent possible, have a subject matter expert to review whatever your accountant is doing, because more and more I see that people, and this is more with the small size and mid size जो companies होती हैं, MNCs to have chartered accountants who handle these matters, and they also engage consultants mostly to do their returns and review, even though they have a chartered accountant who's sitting there and preparing it. So, and I'm speaking more from a small size and a mid size company structure. You should have a subject matter expert who is taking decisions, and you should not rely on that accountant who does your entries to decide whether a credit is eligible or not, or to decide whether a transaction is taxable or not, or to decide at what rate the transaction is taxable. The classification is also a real issue. Indirect tax mein major issue in customs is classification, where you say that a particular rate is applicable to you under a particular HS classification. Department says otherwise. What we have, and I've seen problem is that some small players, and क्योंकि उनके पास उतने resources भी नहीं होते, they rely on the accountant to do these things for them. And वो accountant ने maybe सोचा भी नहीं होगा कि ये और कहीं fall कर सकता है, and that is very risky. So that is a mistake which people, अब सबके पास possible नहीं है कि they engage a full-time subject matter expert in their company, but at least they should have a consultant, and they should make a internal policy where anything which is new should go through someone who's a subject matter expert, and then only it should be implemented. At least you should have a documented reason of why you are doing something. You're taking credit or not taking credit, or reversing credit, or adopting a particular classification. Because वो missing लगता है मेरे को बहुत सारे cases में. Because when we when I see people, they tell me कि नहीं वो accountant ने कर दिया था उस समय, and that is how it's being done. And एक बार कुछ हो जाता है ना, then people don't challenge it. People take it for कि this is the norm, and they follow what has been done. Now what may have been done may not be correct, but then because someone has done it, say 4 years down the line, it is being followed. So they don't question that. They just say, "Ha, this is how it's being done. So we are doing it like this." Now that cannot be an argument which you can take before a tax man. So that is one of the biggest mistakes I feel which people do.
ओके अभी मैं रिसेंटली सुना था कि जो लोग अकाउंटेंट है या जो एडवाइजर्स है वो लोग भी लाइबल हो गए, मतलब समथिंग्स मेसअप्स, तो बिजनेसमैन के अलावा जैसे लिफ्टिंग कॉर्पोरेट वेल था ना, तो सिमिलरली दे आर आल्सो लाइबल, इज इट?
I am not aware of this specific
Yeah.
thing, but I can. Well, I don't think that you can make a CA liable
Yeah.
if they are involved in the fraud per se, or they are a party to it, or they are the ones who are suggesting it to the client. Then of course, but otherwise in normal course, I don't think so. Audit में हो सकता है because they would question your professional skepticism and not looking into it with the right lens. But then as a tax consultant, you can only advise them.
Okay. Manish, last question in the rapid fire round, like working in VAT, CST, excise, earlier regime, or working in GST?
I think working in GST.
Okay.
Because GST में the government is very proactive. In VAT CST, what I have heard, मैंने खुद इतना काम नहीं किया है, there were problems in the government was not as proactive in listening to representations and bringing out changes. But with GST, the good thing is the government really listens to the people, and जो भी burning issues होते हैं उस पर representation होती है. GST council है which meets every half yearly or even more when it's required, and they take action on those representation. They bring out clarifications. So GST is better than VAT, CST, or excise because of the political or I would say government governance also, because government is very proactive in assisting the taxpayer with clarifications, making their life simple. जो VAT CST में नहीं था, VAT CST में it was much more difficult.
One nation, one tax.
One nation, one tax.
Yeah. Now coming towards very important question, like what is the scope of IDT? Like working in Big 4, like what are the exit opportunities? Like if I started my journey in Big 4, like can I move to industry?
Absolutely. So industry people, they want people who are coming from Big Fours because they have that technical expertise. So I know a number of people who have gone into industry from a Big Four. You can do your own practice also, because GST and IDT is something which is applicable to everyone under the sun. Then you can also go outside India. I think that is also something which you
Yeah.
may want to ask me.
Manish, so if I'm like working in Big 4, I have exit opportunities like having your own practice or working in the industry. Like if I, Manish, if I want to like have a career switch, like if I'm working in identity, after 1 to 2 years, like I've decided like I know I want to move to finance. Is it possible? Like internal transfers in the company, like or
I think it is possible because the industry there is a lot of mobility which is there in the big industries.
okay,
So they usually change your department every few years. Whatever I have
yeah,
seen my clients, many of the clients who were earlier in GST, they have moved on to some finance roles, some marketing roles, even some commercial roles. So industry में वो mobility रहता है is what I feel. So that's totally doable.
okay. सो इम्पॉर्टेंट थिंग ओवर हियर कि इफ़ यू हैव स्टार्टेड योर जर्नी आईटीटी, ऐसा नहीं कि आपको लाइफ लॉन्ग आईटीटी करना है। आप 1 से 2 साल बिग फॉर में काम किए, देन यू कैन मूव टू इंडस्ट्री, एंड इंडस्ट्री में बहुत इंटरनल स्विचेस होते हैं जिसके बाद आप अपना रोल स्विच कर सकते हैं। सो मनीष, लाइक आई हैव सीन जब से दुबई में वैट आया, नाउ many CAs are like moving to Dubai, especially in IDT profile. So I think that IDT profile में काफ़ी फॉरेन अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ खुल गया, स्पेशली मिडल ईस्ट में जब से वहाँ पर वैट आया. So what do you feel about it? Like what is your experience? Like have you seen people moving to for like globally from Big Four?
So very good question, and I
Yeah.
think many of my colleagues in the Big Four I work with have moved on from indirect tax in India to a VAT in Dubai, and they are doing good. So basically, in any tax law, laws are different. So the law in India is GST Act, Customs Act, that is different. Dubai में Dubai VAT जो होगा that is different. But then because Indians are good interpreters, I believe that globally people believe that Indians के पास वो ability है to analyze, interpret and come out with a solution. That is why global जो business offshores है, that is also doing well in India. So that is why Dubai is no exception. Dubai also feel that Indian people are capable of interpreting, giving solutions, and that is where Indian professionals from indirect tax in India, although the indirect tax experience per se of the law in India is not of any help to what is there in Dubai, but because again वो thought process पे बात आ जाता है कि your ability to think, your ability to implement, your ability to question, that is what people believe कि Indians में है, and that is what they bet on. मतलब it's not that कि India का GST is similar to what Dubai का VAT is. Every VAT or GST law is similar in some parts, but then they are different because they are different laws, and you have to read the taxation law how it is. You cannot take help from GST in India or anything. So yes, definitely many people are moving to Dubai because they have that ability to interpret, analyze, on which companies in Dubai are hiring them on the basis of that.
One regret, like if I have like not working in IDT, is this only. Like had I have worked in IDT, I would definitely landed up in Dubai as of now. So yeah.
But people are coming back from Dubai now, so
Yeah. So Manish, like I wanted to ask, like what are the perks, what are the remuneration, and what is the roadmap in IDT? Like what are the hierarchy?
so you start with the senior role,
Okay.
then you become an assistant manager, then you become a manager, then there is a senior manager, then there is a director. After director, you have a partner. That is usually the
And what is the like time frame, like from senior to manager?
senior to manager. It takes 3 years. In the normal course, people get promoted in two also. From us, okay, so senior to assistant manager. Sorry, what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Senior to assistant manager usually 3 years लगते हैं, 2 साल में भी लोगों का हो जाता है. Depends on your capabilities, the revenue which you have, and all of that. Then assistant manager से manager usually takes 3 years. 2 years में भी लोगों का होता है. So it's 3 years average, if I would say, from one designation to the other. आपका senior manager से director may take lot more because director is more of a leadership role, and you cannot have so many leaders at the same time. So yes,
And like what is the pay scale for a fresher? Like what's the pay range in Big Four?
it's around 12. It's around 12. I think 11 to 13 के बीच में कुछ होगा.
Fixed.
हाँ. And then bonus is what depends on your performance.
Lovely. And like the if you can aspire 7 digits in big while you're in the director or partner level.
I guess so.
Hope you get that 7 digits also.
Thank
Uh,
you.
Coming towards AI, like I have one important question, like which is like haunting me every time because I'm every other person is telling that your job will go, yeah, the job will be easily replaceable through AI. So in IDT profile, say for example, if I am like consulting my CA for any doubt, now I can simply say for example if any notice have come or I have any doubt, like I can simply go to AI and ask the doubt and he will clear that. So is your job replaceable or AI is a like adding your arsenal to your resources?
So first of all, if and I'll request this to everyone,
Yeah.
whosoever is there in IDT, don't rely on AI.
Okay.
I have seen cases where people have relied on AI taking certain positions, then they have realized it was wrong. If you look at the news, there are cases where people have relied on judgments basis AI. Those judgments don't exist, or those judgments exist, but the principle they are trying to bring out is nowhere there in the judgments. Okay, and Supreme Court ne bhi recently, I think they pulled up some parties for referring to certain cases which were non-existent. So AI is it's a two-way sword. For initial analysis, you get some idea, but then that should not be how you are making your decision, because decisions can go very wrong. And you will have to cut a sorry face before the court, before the tax administration. And I don't feel anyone would want to be in that position. So please use AI only as a facilitator to give you some ideas, but then not to prepare the submissions, or not to uh, because see, the problem with case laws also in the IDT uh, aspect is, and for any aspect in that law, in any law, cases are basis the facts. Now, if you want to apply a principle of a particular case to your case, the facts should be aligned to some extent. Squarely applicable facts नहीं मिलते हैं generally, but then facts अगर कुछ different हैं, that principle which you're trying to borrow may not apply. Abhi AI, what it does is it looks at the judgment basis whatever the judge has said, but I feel it does not consider the context in which the judge would have said so. And then sometimes there, and we refer to this as hallucination, जो AI में होता है, where they give you an output because you've asked for it, but it does not exist.
Okay.
So I think I'm very 100% sure AI is not going to take your jobs, at least in taxation profile. That is not possible. It can take away some menial works, like doing reconciliation and all of that, and no one wants to do those things. So it's better for us. I feel I'm glad that AI is there, and I hope that AI does a lot of those compliances going forward. So that will help IDT professionals in focus on better things in life rather than Excel sheets. So so AI is really good, in fact.
So basically, the compliance part might be replaced, but the advisory and the litigation part is always.
The compliance part also may not be replaced, because client का data उतना structured होता नहीं है. And there would be some level of manual intervention which would be required. But then a lot of the processes which were, and there is a difference between AI and automation. Now what I feel people AI और automation को mix कर देते हैं. AI क्या है? AI is taking a decision. It's giving you a judgment. Automation is just you're giving a structured data and they are processing it and giving you some other form. So automation would probably be a macro, which we have since ages, right? But AI goes beyond that macro to take a action or classify certain things into buckets based on an intelligence, and that is where artificial intelligence is involved. So मेरे को लगता है compliance में भी what most of the people are doing is automation. It's not artificial intelligence per se, because artificial intelligence तब होगा जब मैं एक data AI को दूं and AI uses their own judgment to file the returns कि कौन सा credit taxable eligible है, कौन सा eligible नहीं है, which I don't think AI can do. So automation हो रहा है, artificial intelligence नहीं हो रहा है.
You are the first person who have given me such a great clarity कि AI और automate को अपने सच में interrelate कर दे रहे थे. And Manish, like, what are the pros and cons working in IDT profile?
Pros and cons. Pros, it depends on your inclination, honestly. So, agar you don't like tax, and you ask me what is a pro, I'll say there's no pro for you. You should do something else. If you like tax, you like to interpret things, you like to apply your brain to case laws, you like to bring out principles which you can build a case for your client, this is the place for you. So con, मेरे को कोई con नहीं दिखता if you love the subject, मेरे को कोई pro नहीं दिखता if you don't love the subject. So it's as simple as that.
Lovely. Manish, any famous like cases that you have handled or any famous assignment that you have worked, और कभी ऐसा लगा बहुत thrill है आपको ये वाला काम करके?
Many a times, but I'm not sure if it would be correct to talk about it on this platform. But there are lots of cases. I'll give you example, not taking any names or anything. I have worked on litigation, And there are times where I have myself come out with an argument. And this was one instance where I had thought of a particular way we can argue, and this was before the commissioner appeals in Kolkata. Although we did not win that case, but the commercial appeal said that, wow, what an argument. I have never thought of it that way. And that gives you thrill. Whenever someone at a position compliments you, he may not give you a favorable order, but compliments you for the thought process or the research you have done. That gives you thrill, that gives you satisfaction, and that what keeps you motivated to do better the next time. So there have been such instances where we have saved optimized structures, we have saved taxes, and all of that. I would not be able to give you specific circumstances or facts, but yes, there are. If you work in IDT, I'm sure you will come across such situations.
Okay. Any technical skills that you want to like expect from a CA fresher, like starting his journey in IDT?
Willingness to learn. It's not a technical skill, but
Yeah.
it's a value. Because technical skill तो चलो आर्टिकलशिप में व्यक्ति उतना नहीं जानता होगा, because as an article, most of the articles would be more into compliances.
Yeah.
Okay, because you would trust a senior qualified with an advisory or a litigation. So I feel you should have that willingness, and articleship, maybe whenever you are doing your articleship, you should ask questions even if you are not working on something. आपको दिख रहा है आपका सीनियर कोई केस पे काम कर रहा है या कोई सबमिशन बना रहा है, you have to ask him कि can you give it to me, I want to give it a read. You should apply your mind, you should give him insights, in fact. And people like it. If someone in my team asks me ki sir, can I look at this, and they come out with some insights, even though that may be correct, may not be correct, but the fact that he has that willingness to know about things and put his perspective or give insights or try to give insights, that itself is very commendable. And that will, and once you give some insights and your senior appreciates it, that will motivate also, and that senior also going forward would maybe want to involve you in certain things which he would not do otherwise, because he has seen that you have that willingness, you are keen. So always keep your and as an article, what I believe in, to all articles out there, you learn more by observation rather than actually doing, because there are a lot of things which are happening around you. So you should always keep observe things around you. You should ask questions. Never be afraid of asking questions. No one will tell you don't ask me questions, and that is how you learn. So that is a skill, although not a technical skill, which I feel everyone should have.
Okay, Manish. And one thing, Manish, like, how is your work done? Like, mostly in Excel, PPT, Word, or beyond that?
Yes, it's mostly Excel, PPT, Word. There are government portals which you also have to
Yeah.
use, but mostly it's Excel, Word, and PPT, PDF, reading case laws, highlighting, all of that. Yeah.
Okay. One final question, Manish. Like, any advice for the upcoming CS?
Advice would be see, and this is not something which is wrong, but
Yeah.
what I feel is people are not sure what they want to do, and that is the purpose of this podcast also.
Yes.
What I can tell the aspiring, the future CAs who will become CA in this batch is that there's no harm in trying.
Yeah.
You may not be sure about a certain profile, but you can try. You can switch after 6 months. At best क्या होगा, वो 6 months का work X का credit आपको नहीं मिलेगा. But then if you don't try, you will never get to know. So always try. If you have an opportunity in IDT and you have that initial feeling that I want to do this, or I would like this, you should give it a try. And don't just not do it because you feel कि नहीं, some other profile is more glamorous, or I've seen other people in this profile. You don't know what works for you, right? One suit does not fit all. So maybe IDT is the thing for you. So give it a try, and you never know.
What your destiny is. एक चीज़ मेरे को बहुत दुख होता है कि इफ़ आई एम टेकिंग अ मोबाइल, आप लोग 100 वीडियो देखेंगे, उसका कंपैरिजन वीडियो, उसका अनबॉक्सिंग वीडियो, उसके बाद इफ़ यू आर गोइंग फॉर अ ट्रिप, आप उसका 1000 व्लॉग देखेंगे कि आपको ये ट्रिप में जाना है, क्या आइटिनरी होना चाहिए. बट जब आप अपना करियर चूज कर रहे हो, लाइक यू आर डूइंग योर आर्टिकलशिप और योर आफ्टर सीए कौन सा प्रोफाइल में जाना है, यू आर जस्ट ब्लाइंडली फॉलोइंग कि चलो जो मिल जाए उसमें करना है. सो दिस इज द मोटिव ऑफ दिस कंटेंट, दिस इज द मोटिव ऑफ दिस पॉडकास्ट. मेरे को कुछ नहीं मिल रहा, मतलब इट्स जस्ट दैट आई वांट टू give you things that I was not able to access during my time. So please do like, subscribe to my channel. And Manish, thank you so much for taking
Thank
your
you.
time in the weekends. And like it was a great, and even I learned many things about IDT.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much, and thank you for this platform. I think it's easy to come and speak, but then actually having the setup, putting all of this together, and then editing and uploading must take a lot of
Yeah.
effort. So very good what you're doing, Madhav, and I'm
Yeah.
sure many people out there would be watching and they would be able to take an informed decision
Yeah.
because of your videos, and that makes me really happy. So kudos to you.
The motive of this channel is like even if one student views my video and he gets a path, my channel is successful.
Thank you, Madhav.
Yeah. Thank you so
Really
much.
glad that we have people like Madhav here who want to share knowledge, because knowledge is the only thing which can give you your success. So knowledge is power,
Yeah.
and knowledge shared is power multiplied. So he's multiplying power.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And congratulations for the freshly CS. Hope you like my video.